And they have now changed what was originally a double by DJ Petrinsky, leading off the Texas second, to a single and an error. Error on the dive by Johnny Reiser out in center field. So each team with an error. And the first time Kingham's behind a hitter 2-0.
Well, Connor Shepard has really come in and filled a big hole at third base for the Frogs and filling the shoes of Elliot Barzilli, who graduated last season. Outstanding defensive player. They struggled a bit adjusting to Big 12 pitching, but starting to come along here late in the season.
6 home runs, his first at Dodger Stadium against Vanderbilt. What a thrill for a California kid. His most recent in the Tuesday night win in Nacogdoches over Stephen F. Austin. Shepard, All Valley at Upland High School. Started out at Florida International with a redshirt year 2016. Then Mount San Antonio and now TCU. And the first time Kingham goes to a 3-ball count. Walks have been the key to more than a few TCU rallies this year.
Well, they've had to rely more and more on walks and singles rather than the long ball.
Runner goes, and with Hamilton coming towards second base, Shepard's opposite field grounder, sending Oviedo around to third.
A great job of hitting by Connor Shepard. Knew he had Oviedo in motion, so he was aiming for that hole vacated by David Hamilton, the shortstop, and puts it exactly where Hamilton would have been standing had Oviedo not been on the move. Good job of running and hitting that time by the Frogs.
First time they managed to get one into the Longhorn outfield. Now to the top of the order, and Boulware hit it sharply, but right at Hamilton to begin the game.
Obviously, Boulware trying to find a pitch he can put in play. Got good speed at third base through the Frogs. Good speed at the plate. Texas in double play. Set up defensively up the middle.
That's their specialty. They have turned 59 double plays. And that chopper just goes foul. Second nationally in turning 2. David Pierce says the absolute strength of this team is defense. It's our staple. And he thinks they're starting to understand how to score, how to win close games, which was their problem last year. The 1-run loss. So they suffered 17 times in his first year.
Now David Pierce has been around baseball long enough to know that defense and pitching wins you some championships, and here comes another one.
4-6-3 for double play number 60, and Nolan Kingham out of trouble in the third.
Well, they lead the nation in double plays, and here it is again. Just turn another one. Sweet hands of Cody Clemens makes up that error.
Texas 1-0 heading to the bottom of the third, and the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Todd Clemens and Zubia, to face Nick Lodolo. Gave up a sinking liner to center by DJ Petrinsky that bounced past Johnny Reiser, originally ruled a double, then single and an error. Sacrifice bunt, ground out, producing first run of the game. Austin Todd hit by a pitch, one of 2 Longhorns to be plunked in the first. And ended up left at third base. Nick Lodolo, Jim Schlossnagel says, has flashes of brilliance. And you look at his hits per innings pitch, and again, Down to first base goes Austin Todd.
He's got the lucky magnet in his shoe tonight. 2 at bats. 2 times he's been plunked. And a ball that just gets away from Lodolo, gets around that breaking pitch, and almost the same identical pitch, just a flattened out breaking ball.
2 innings plus. He's now hit 3 frogs. Cody Clemens grounded to second his first trip. Todd, in his limited action because of the left thumb injury, can run. He has stolen all 3 times he's tried. That apparently a little high to Cody. He's named today as a semifinalist for the Dick Hauser Award. The top player in the country.
Yeah, well deserved. And as we highlighted Cody's statistics before the game, I mean, certainly, a leader in multiple categories in the Big 12, but more than that, it just gave this middle of this Longhorn lineup some stability and a lot of power. And him and Zubia batting back to back, it's almost for an opposing pitcher, which guy do you not want to let beat you? If you choose to pitch to Clemens, and especially here, Lodolo falling behind 2-0, you got to come in with a strike at some point. And you got Zubia right behind protecting Clemens.
So Humphrey's out for a chat. Clemens also named twice this year as a player of the week for the Bobby Bragan Collegiate Slugger Award, which goes to top hitter in Texas based on performance at the plate, academics, personal integrity. Won by Texas Tech's Hunter Hargrove last year, the inaugural award. Connor Shepard over for a look, no chance, 2-1.
Well, the setup and adjustment that Cody made was he's got his hands a tad higher, but really pushed him back away from his body. That's allowing him to get to fastballs, especially on the inner part of the plate. He's getting that bat head through the zone quicker this year. Generating a little bit more bat speed with those hands pushed away from his body, and certainly has shown his power numbers with the 16 home runs.
3 balls and a strike. Lodolo has only walked 1, but then he's hit 3. Not only 1 Texas base hit. And Wildness puts the first 2 Longhorns on here in the bottom of the 3rd for Zach Zubia.
Yeah, Nick Lodolo just really fighting himself at this point. I mean, full count pitch, and he misses that, misses the plate by almost a foot. Just an indication he has just not found that arm slot. And repeating those mechanics is really critical for him, and looks like he's also been struggling with trying to repeat that delivery tonight.
Zubia also an excellent eye for a redshirt freshman. Worked 39 times. Well, Zach Humphreys has come out to talk to him. Earlier, his pitching coach, Kirk Sarlos, came out to talk to him. And he's going to try another approach with Lodolo.
Yeah, I think he's going to really try to slow him down a little bit and let him breathe. One of the things, too, you look at with a pitcher that's so hyped up when you come into this ballpark, he's really trying to control the emotional side of the game as well. And really get into your head. And when you play here at Texas and this big home crowd and you look up in the stands, it's just solid burnt orange.
So how did you calm yourself out on that mound?
Yeah, you just got to take breaths. You got to breathe. You got to step off the mound and refocus on what your job is. Nick Lodolo's job is to pound that glove and not to worry about anything atmospheric or environmental. It's just to get in that glove and remind yourself that's your job. Play catch with the catcher. Looks like Kirk Sarlos is really doing most of the talking out there. That's never a good sign.
And he's making some emphatic points, it looks like.
Yeah, he's upset. There's probably some things that Nick has been working on, and Kirk's reminding him, hey, Yeah, these are the things we've been talking about last 2 or 3 outings here. You know, you just got to get it through your head. You got to go forward, pound that glove, and get after it. Trust your stuff. This guy, Nick Lodolo's got unbelievable stuff when he gets over the plate with it.
So back at it now. Zubia waiting for the 1-0 pitch with Todd at second and Clemens at first. Check swing, 1-1. Zubia last summer, best hitter in the North Woods League. After, as Pat talked about, transferring from Tulane, sitting out a year, working on his body. Twice this year, he has hit 2-run homers to clinch series on the road at Oklahoma and at Texas Tech, and drives that one deep into right. Running grab by Balta in front of the track as Austin Todd takes third with 1 out.
Well, a great read off the bat by A.J. Balta in right field, and a good jump. He needed it. That ball carried almost to the fence. Get to the warning track, and Balta runs it down. A good heads-up base running by Austin Todd to recognize that Balta was going to make the catch and go back and tag up.
So Longhorns on the corners for Mason Hibbler. Mason walked to load the bases in the first before Reynolds fouled out to end the threat. Odessa Junior College, one of 3 JUCOs on the Longhorn roster this year. First ball hitting.
Yeah, Hibbler came into University of Texas as a shortstop and quickly figured out with David Hamilton there, he was have to make the conversion to the outfield, and oftentimes players make those conversions. It takes away from their batting. Trying to focus on a new position and learn that, but Hibbler's really come on late here and swung the bat well.
Skies this one out to shallow left field, and backing out to make the catch, barely Oviedo, as Todd tags and scores without a throw, 2-0.
Well, even though Adam Oviedo makes the catch, it was an absolute mistake on his part. He should have been called off on that play by Josh Watson. Watson had a much better angle to come to the plate. Again, another heads-up base running by Austin Todd to see when Oviedo made that catch going backwards, there was no way he was going to be able to spin and turn and make a throw home. So just a defensive mental mistake in the outfield by the Frogs.
Well, left fielder Watson comes in to make that catch. Todd never probably takes a step off of third base. Instead, a rare sacrifice fly 6. Hibbler drives in his 28th run of the year. And with Clemens still at first, Ryan Reynolds.
Well, that's purely a manufactured run and some great base running by Todd. So he gets on base, second time he gets hit in the game. Moves over to third base on the sac fly to right field. And it scores on the sacrifice to the shortstop. Don't see that very often.
I can't remember that I've ever seen that. Now that I think about it.
Sac fly to the shortstop. I've seen shortstops make plays close to the stands and they tumble in or something happens where they slide in and make a catch and the player tags up and scores, but nothing like what we just saw. Absolutely should have been called off on that play by one of the outfielders.
Well, the first Texas run scoring when the outfielder got over aggressive. Reiser letting a looping drive bounce past him for what was finally ruled single and an error. Petrinsky coming around to score in the second. This inning, hit, batter, walk, fly ball to right, sac, fly to the shortstop to make it 2-0.
And I promise you, if you're sitting in that TCU dugout right now, you're thinking to yourself, the way Nolan Kingham is throwing, we can't allow too many more runs here. I mean, 2 looks like 5 right now.
Team coming into the series, figuring they got to win this series, at least 2 out of 3. Maybe still would need to win the Big 12 tournament next week. Nail down an NCAA bid. That would obviously do it for sure, but if they're going to leave it up to the people that make at-large selections, even though they've righted their ship in May, 8-1 this month, winners of 11 of the last 13. Jim Schlossnagel thinking win this series, at least make the championship game next week in Oklahoma City.
Well, just like last season when Luke and Baker went down for TCU, they were able to get back to the College World Series, which I thought was kind of a minor miracle when you lose a player that stature in your lineup. But they did it with a more of a senior-laden type team from a hitting perspective, and just a stronger lineup. Really tough this year, too, with Jared Janzak, their number 2 starter, going down. You see Nick Lodolo, I think, just plunked Ryan Reynolds as well.
That is the 4th hit Longhorn in 2 2/3 innings. Austin Todd, both of his plate appearances. Zubia also in the first, and now Reynolds, and they've all been that same pitch.
Yeah, just a slider. He's just not getting on top of the pitch, and you get around that, you can see the spin coming off his hand. It's just cutting across the plate, and he's pulled about 5 or 6 of those into that right-handed batter's box. So again, just an indication that he's not getting on top of that breaking ball. There's no downward movement to it, it's just sliding across.
And Petrinsky still has the only base hit Lodolo has allowed. Chopper here, handled by Oviedo on the charge. The Longhorns get a run without a hit here in the 3rd. Deleted 2-0.
Bronze and gold in new and taste.
Joined by a retired number, 7 Cy Young Awards and 354 wins. Here in our booth at Disch-Falk Field. Welcome, Roger Clemens.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it.
What is it like as a parent after spending a life in baseball watching a son play?
Yeah, it's awesome. I get to be, I'm referred to around Austin as Casey and Cody's dad, and I love it. So it was fun getting the boys here to back on campus, getting a few bloodlines there. And, of course, Casey got drafted by the Blue Jays last year, and he had a nice little run. And hopefully Cody will get an opportunity to play at the next level, but he's focused on this, a big series right here.
Well, when we watch you watching them, you seem calm. Is that just a front? I mean,
well, Pat knows they're not pitchers, so it's easy. When they hit and play a position, I love it.
That's right.
Because it's not a big deal. When they were pitching a little bit in high school, I was a little edgy, and I watched some of my close friends here when their boys pitched, and they played professionally. They were walking back and forth, pacing through the crowd. So, yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking for them.
Yeah, there's nothing like that, watching your sons play. And Roger, I remember working at your house when those guys were, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, but having that environment of being around baseball their whole lives. They've certainly learned it well, and they've got great baseball IQs. But, it's not automatic either. We know. It's a lot of hard work, and these guys have busted it to get here.
Absolutely. The guys that are going to get drafted and have the opportunity to play at the next level, they'll get there, and everybody can run, everybody can throw, everybody can hit for the most part, and you just got to kind of see, where you fit in. And the same thing with working with the big league guys that I work with. It's all part of the mental part of the game.
2-2 pitch behind Josh Watson. Wow, 3 balls and 2 strikes. When Augie Garrido was coaching your sons, and we asked him about your involvement, and he said he's the perfect parent. He is here strictly for support. And I'm wondering, with all you know about pitching, how hard was it not to want to go out and make suggestions to the Longhorn pitchers?
Yeah, Dave, it's not hard at all. I sit back and wait, and when Coach Pierce even, Augie was that way, and when they ask, especially if I'm on the road with them, I'm able to sneak in and watch them on the road.
Chopper directly to young Master Clemens.
I'll get in there and work with those guys. And you know what? They ask pretty advanced ball players here. They ask some pointed questions. No different than some of the Astro guys that'll text me or we'll call and talk and visit. But they'll get real pointed with their questions, and I'll try and give them a direct answer of what I see. Thank goodness for TiVo, because I can tape a game and watch it in about 20 minutes and watch some of the guys' innings. And, yeah, so it's fun.
A.J. Balta struck out in the first.
I think it's, again, as you guys know, you've covered enough games and dealt with enough young players and professional players. It's the mental struggle once you really start setting yourself in.
Well, Roger, it's, we've been around the game a long time, but a lot of guys can play the game. Not a lot of guys can teach it. It really, I just watched you from afar, and whether it would be through select ball or here at this level, I mean, you really understand the game. You teach it well, and I've just been so impressed with that, your involvement here, even at this level.
I love it. I mean, I love working with the guys and talking to them. I was fortunate over 24 years. My mechanics were pretty good. I had some great pitching coaches.
Yep.
I had some fantastic catchers that paid attention to detail. I called probably 90% of my game from the mound just by looks or what I was doing until one of my catchers got traded to another team and I had to change it. But it just made the game move a little bit better. You're in sync, and it all holds true. You know, strike one's always good no matter how you get it, and I'm working with my stuff until that hitter makes you change. And in a game like this that you're watching right now, where what looks to be a pitcher's duel, where both pitchers are on their game, manufacture runs and getting a few runs across right now. You know, when you're matching up against another guy's number one and you get a quick run by bunting a guy over and getting him in, it feels like three, like you were talking about earlier.
Well, Kingham was pounding the strike zone. Great command to start the game. He's struggled a little bit here in this inning, but really has made an adjustment here late in this season. I know he started out slow, but he's really picked up the pace here last few starts.
You're absolutely correct, and it's great to see Nolan pounding that strike zone with confidence.
Roger, do you think there was anything to the fact that David Pierce talked about this? You know, you come into your junior season. Do you think pitchers tend to put a little more stress on themselves and pressure on themselves to pitch well because of their draft year?
Absolutely. I mean, young guy, you know, that's what you want. You know, you're looking for that. Nolan's brother's pitching in the big leagues now. He had an opportunity to go watch him a couple weeks ago, and so absolutely.
4-pitch walk to Michael Landestoy.
I think sometimes, you know, and again, I stress it with him when I had the opportunity to talk to him a couple times, and Coach Pierce had me visit with him, is I don't mind the radar gun, but once you peek at it one or two times and you know you're sitting 93, 94, then quit looking at it and pitch. Don't throw.
Right.
You know, that's the biggest difference. I was a power pitcher. I wasn't a power thrower. And the same thing with these kids when they look at that speed gun. And as you know, we tell them, it doesn't really sink in, but guys in the big leagues can put wood on a bullet.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
So it doesn't matter how hard you throw it. You got to, you know, you can attack, and then you try and get to the edges with great stuff. Absolutely.
You were, of course, known as one of the all-time power pitchers. But out of Springwoods High School, before you got to Omaha and celebrated the 1983 College World Series, you went to San Jacinto Junior College, where you were coached by Wayne Graham, now in his final weeks as head coach at Rice.
Well, you're dead on. I mean, I was a better defensive end than I was a pitcher or first baseman in high school, but I threw strikes. So when the guys that threw hard in high school got knocked around a little bit, coach would bring me in, I would pitch. And make no mistake about it, I had 3 great coaches coming up, but they were better teachers of the game. My high school coach, Charlie Mariano, who's since passed.
Yep.
Then I got to go to San Jacinto and play with one of the best coaches in the history of college baseball, Wayne Graham, like you alluded to earlier. Then I came here and I played for the winningest coach in baseball history, in Cliff Gustafson, until Augie came along.
Johnny Reiser.
I told my 2 boys, don't ever forget, you had the opportunity to play for Augie, the winningest coach in baseball history, and what a treat and a thrill. They learned so much other than the game of baseball. It was fun for me as a dad to sit back and listen to Augie teach them not only the game but stuff behind the scenes.
We talked about it earlier, Roger, about what made Augie so special was he really honored and coveted the relationships with the players. It was more than just the game. He could teach the game as good as anybody, but it was that relationship he established with his players. He was
so fun to listen to, and like he said, he made you feel at home. I would show up here, and they would be having an inner squad. He'd have the screen right behind home plate, and he'd say, "Get over here and sit down and watch." And I said, absolutely.
There you go. So what was it at San Jacinto? What did Coach Graham do with you? Because I remember you in high school watching you pitch for Springwoods, and you topped out, 82, 83?
I was about 85 with a pretty good hook, and I was a 17-year-old senior. I graduated early.
That's right.
And then I went to play with Coach, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. I had this weighted ball I was throwing, and boy, he grabbed that thing from me and threw it in the woods. And he said, "Give me that thing," and he threw it. It was pretty funny because he crow-hopped it to throw it in the woods. It didn't make it. I thought he about blew his arm out. And he ran down there and grabbed it again, and he chunked it in the woods. He said, "Now get up on the mound, and I want you to start developing some arm speed. I want to see you get some arm whip and some arm speed." I started playing long toss, which I still think is the best thing ever. And I grew 2 inches, and my velocity jumped. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what a tremendous story. I bet Coach Graham didn't say it kindly either.
Yeah, I can't repeat. I can't repeat what he exactly said, guys.
Now he also says that when he asked you why you weren't throwing harder, not just miles per hour, but more effort, that you told him you were always told hold a little bit back, and he said, "Well, you're holding too much back."
Yeah,
is that something like?
There's two stories I don't remember. I remember Coach Gus coming out in the College World Series once, and he asked me what was wrong. I told him I was hungry. They weren't feeding us too good. Those peanut butter sandwiches weren't going too far, and I think I shocked him on that one.
Roller on the left side, and Hamilton charges.
Wow.
Dug out by Jake McKenzie.
Wow,
what number
throw.
2.
What a play. You've seen that a few times with David Hamilton. He's just a slick fielder, isn't he?
Yeah, he's smooth up the middle. He and Cody's had a good rapport up the middle, but it's fun to watch him. And everybody really putting it together coming the defense here at this field. It's helped bringing the fences in a little bit, made it more playable with the bat and the ball in the college, the last, 8-9 years, whatever it is, they've changed the bat a little bit. But he's been fantastic defensively.
So tying runs in scoring position with 2 outs now for Zach Humphreys, who grounded to third and the second.
Whoa! Look here.
And picked off at second base, Michael Landestoy to get Kingham out of trouble. I'll let you describe that, Roger.
Are they going to show a replay?
Wow!
I think it was great. They caught him off guard. He got the glove open big time. Looks like he might have got him on the chest or the bottom of the chin. Got the call.
It's time for sleep number 6.
In the development of Roger Clemens at San Jacinto Junior College before he moved on to Rice, Wayne Graham. Winding down his career, 27th year at Rice, 7 times to Omaha, and produced the only national championship ever won by Rice University.
Love that man. Fantastic teacher of the game. Still sharp as sharp can be, and just knows the game, and a great teacher.
Duke Ellis leading off the Longhorn 4th.
He had a little fire in his belly. Let me tell you
a little?
Yeah. It's kind of like I told the boys with Augie. You got Augie on the kind of the more mellow end,
right.
I think.
Yeah, I think he performed for Coach Graham because you were mostly scared of what would happen if you didn't.
Off the fist, and
he can run a little bit.
The play by Oviedo, but not in time to get Ellis.
Yeah, Ellis with some wheels, and he was certainly booking it down to first base. Oh, it took a funny little hop, had some spin on it, and Oviedo had to be a little bit careful on his approach. Slowed down just enough for Ellis to get to first base.
Yeah, he runs well. Eats some ground up with those long strides.
So aboard for Jake McKenzie, drove in the first Longhorn run on a ground out in the second. Trying to lay down a bunt. I want to check another story Wayne Graham told me about you, that if you had not turned into a prospect that Cliff Gustafson was interested in and signing here at Texas, what would your athletic career have been?
Well,
it wouldn't have involved baseball necessarily.
It would have been history. I mean, I love history, and thank goodness I got to play for 2 of the most historic teams. When I was in Boston, I got to meet the Kennedys. We've always been close with the Bush family, and so just a great deal of fun for me to grab little pieces of history from both those families.
You had some interest, not in baseball, to play college sports, though, as I understand it.
I'm not sure what he was.
He said as a football prospect.
Oh, I played a little defensive end.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it, and I kind of took that mentality to the mound with me too. But like I said, I just was so young coming out of high school.
Good bunt laid down by McKenzie. Early in time. One hunt into Boulware.
Yeah, when
First out.
when you see two guys that are on like this is what you got to do. It's almost, we're playing a little bit of
small
Augie ball.
You bet. Yep. I think Cliff Gustafson made that game pretty famous too.
He did. Coach Gus was great at it also, and of course the turf was a lot different here. It played bigger and faster. We had that old school real AstroTurf.
Yeah, this turf is really slow, isn't it?
It plays a little bit slow. It's getting broken in each year a little bit more, where it plays a little faster in the outfield especially.
Top of the order in Hamilton, who is lined out and struck out looking. It's it sharply off Oviedo. First and third.
Ball was hit well, but I think they're going to score an error. That was a one-hopper. Oviedo just, off the heel of his glove, it looked like. Sharply hit, but a ball that should have been fielded.
Could go either way. That ball was scalded.
Yeah, it was smoked.
That ball got on him pretty hard.
Well, Roger, you think about Coach Graham. You know, he produced a national champion at San Jacinto, goes to Rice, turns that program around. That team had 7 winning seasons in 78 years before he gets there. Then they win 21 of the next 22 championships in the conference. I mean, just amazing, right?
It's amazing. Like I said, he brought out the best in all the players.
What was his magic? What did he do?
Oviedo.
No play. We'll talk about this more.
Austin Todd grounds into the 6-4-3. Still 2-0.
How's he getting?
2-0, headed to the top of the 5th. Roger Clemens with us. Humphreys one hunt and Oviedo to hit against Nolan Kingham. Of your 7 Cy Youngs, one very early, age 24. Number 7 at age 42. Which do you think was a bigger accomplishment?
I got to tell you, they're all special when they're attached to that we went to postseason play. Anytime you have an individual award like that you share with the other guys. But I got to tell you, I tried to retire. As you know, it didn't work out a couple times.
You weren't good at it.
I wasn't good at it. And the 3 years I had playing, I loved playing for each club I was with. The history you have. I loved going to Toronto. Mr. Beeston was there. He was really big in me going to the Blue Jays at that time. And then retiring and then having the opportunity to come out of retirement and pitch for my hometown team, the Houston Astros. And we got to the World Series, and it was so much fun having a baseball town there in Houston. Lifted into right center field, and drifting over is Austin Todd, and Zach Humphreys. The numbers I put up in Houston were at my advanced age, and the run production the lack of sometimes, being able to scrape some out. The best story was with Brad Osmus. I was trying to get Phil Garner at one time to, as you've seen it a few times in the big leagues, you have the pitcher hit eighth and the catcher hit ninth or somebody. I was trying so hard to convince Phil Garner. I think at one point I was hitting 228 and Osmus was hitting 224.
Oh.
So I said, let him bump me over one game.
I bet Brad didn't feel good about that.
No, he came out of the trainer's room and said, I got wind of what's going on. If it happens.
There it is.
That nice sliding stop by Cody Clemens.
Osmus comes flying out of the trainer's room and said, if I come in here tomorrow, and I was starting that day, he said, Skip, if I come out here tomorrow and you got Rocket batting 8th and me 9th, I'm retiring on the spot.
I'm done. That's a sign. A true sign.
So we couldn't do that. We needed Brad back there behind the plate.
Did any of your sons want to pitch? Did you try to direct them toward pitching?
Casey enjoyed it. He pitched his freshman year, but then coach was having him swing it. So
first ball hitting. Todd runs down the drive by Oviedo.
I like it.
If you can hang with us, we'd love to have you another half inning. All right, 1, 2, 3, go the Horned Frogs in the 5th.
Tiger.
Bottom of the 5th, and Cody Clemens to lead things off for the Longhorns, to be followed by Zach Zubia and Mason Hibbler. So you get a chance to show us what you've been talking about, how you can remain calm while one of your children is in action. Now, he thought about, did some pitching. Was there any point where you thought at least one of your kids was going to really try and follow your footsteps?
And I tell you what, I've got a photo, and I never worked with him on the mound, and he closed games. He was about, I think still he's about 92 across the diamond.
Wow.
And I told him, don't let anybody know that you close games in high school. Show them the photo. I've got a photo, and like they were saying, Casey, you know, resembles my mechanics, and but I'll show you all on my phone here if I can find it. One of Cody, it's crazy.
Well, he certainly had a good model to follow. That's for sure, Roger. So what has Cody done here? He's made some adjustments with his hands, and David Pierce referenced that when we spoke with him, and he says just made a difference in his power.
Yeah, his hands are just a little bit lower. He hit all December with them there, and I tell you what, they've all been facing a bunch of left-handers. I mean, all year long, the games that I've attended, we're seeing our fair share of lefties.
Yep. And
so I think just the fact that he's seen a bunch has helped. We'll see right here.
Just missed. 3 balls and a strike.
So, but his hands are low. He's stronger. He worked real hard on his speed this offseason, and so it's great. I love seeing him getting up in the morning, going, doing the work, and that's what you have to do to be really good.
That one finds the edge. 3-2.
Now, if you're pitching, you want that pitch. If you're hitting,
that's right.
Yeah, you're spitting on it.
He might have bought himself another one. If you can back that up out there like that, he's going to have to go out there and get that one. Left it in a little bit and pulled it. Uh-oh.
Oh, where bounces the throw. Juan not able to dig it out.
Yeah, and he was running hard down the first baseline. That wasn't an easy play.
What was, as we look at the replay, what was June 1983 like when you're trying to win a College World Series and waiting to be drafted and not sure where?
Yeah, it was, you know, there was a handful of us who knew we were going to get drafted off that 83 team, maybe early, maybe in the first or second round. And I didn't like it that the draft, I didn't know it then, of course, when I was 21 years old, but as time went on and we got drafted and got with our you know, our big league teams, our major league teams that drafted us, I just didn't like it because we had about 5 guys on the team that thought they were going to get drafted early, and they didn't. And when the draft happens right in the middle of the Omaha series, the College World Series, it was a disappointment for a lot of the guys.
Out in front of the plate, handled by Zach Humphreys.
So, yeah, it was a little disappointing for some guys. You know, you're happy and you're going to the ballpark getting ready to pitch. I think myself and Schiraldi did it. Somebody said it hit off his foot. You can't see
that was
from that
David
replay.
Pierce yelling at it. I heard his voice down there.
David?
Yeah, that ball had some backspin on it. That's why I think he thought it hit off his foot. But, yeah, you got to sell that if you're Zach Zubia. You got to stand there and make it hurt. Roger, you played for a lot of great managers and head coaches along the way. In your estimation, what's the difference in the guys that win with some sustainability over and over?
As far as a manager or a coach,
yeah. What's the difference?
I had some great managers too. You know, somebody like Joe Torre. I mean, we had an all-star at every position, but Joe handled our personalities fantastic, and he knew who to stroke and how to go about our personalities.
Right.
He also handled the media great in the giant media market in New York. So, but Jimmy Williams was a great baseball man. I get to Houston, he takes me to the cage early in the morning, says, listen, you can handle the ball. Uh-oh, here we go.
Way back to left and way out of here. Home run number 4, Mason Hibbler.
Great to see.
Yeah, I think he get all that one.
Yeah, he didn't. He'll turn it loose now.
Yeah, he extended. That was a nice swing.
He'll turn it loose.
Got that elevated fastball and just squared it up. Right on time, Mason Hibbler. Yeah, watch the pitch. Up and in. He was just sitting all over it. Man, what a turn on that ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just snapped it.
Nice little leg kick. Got that foot down.
Well, he gets the chant of Mason before he gets the curtain call. And a home run cut by Reynolds.
Might see Ryan hitting a little left-handed this weekend off some righties. Coach turned him loose. Coach Pierce suggested he hit a little left-handed again, and it worked on the Tuesday game.
Well, I saw him do that in the summer as well, and I know he had been working on it for, I think, most of his career.
Yeah, he's just a good athlete. Ryan's a very good athlete, very intense, works hard.
Yep. Pretty similar to his dad, huh?
Absolutely.
Good bloodlines. Roger, that was the one thing that always impressed me with you, going over to your home and working out with you in the off seasons, and just the intensity you brought to your workouts. I mean, I don't think you really understood what off season meant.
Yeah, we would pick a great time, and usually January 2nd or 3rd is when I started throwing.
Yep. Fastball inside, just missed in. Lodolo has not gotten that call a couple of times, but that ball definitely inside off the plate.
Reynolds down on strikes, 3-0. Roger Clemens, a pleasure.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Always good, Roger.
Good luck, guys.
Bronzen.
Should have the Rocket up here with us last couple innings. Roger Clemens, as Texas extends the lead to 3-0. Pat, quick trivia question for you. Are you ready?
I'll give it a try.
What do Tim Belcher, Kurt Stillwell, Jeff Kunkel, Eddie Williams, Stan Hilton, Jackie Davidson, Darrell Lakerfels, Robbie Wine, Matt Stark, Ray Hayward, Dave Clark, Ron DeLucci, Joel Davis, Rich Stoll, Wayne Dotson, Brian Holman, Terry Bell, Eric Sandberg, all have in common?
Can you read that again, please?
No. They were all selected before Roger Clemens in the first round of 1983.
What a miss. Wow.
And the Montreal Expos passed on him twice.
Man,
Yeah.
that would have changed that franchise. They may still be playing in Montreal had they had Roger Clemens.
Finally made it to Canada, but
that's right. A little bit earlier than
not as an
Toronto.
Expo.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, it's when you think about that 83 College World Series team and what Roger did for the program here at University of Texas, and of course they had a tremendous cast. What a lineup those guys had, and the pitching was outstanding, obviously. And you think of Calvin Schiraldi, Roger Clemens, and then Bruce Ruffin, Dennis. I mean, there were just a number of names on that team that were fantastic. All big leaguers, and yeah, quite a special team.
And really special to hear his memories of having played for two of the all-time great coaches, Wayne Graham and Cliff Gustafson.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often in a career of any sort. You think of two of the winningest college baseball coaches in history, and Clemens got to play for both of them. Great shots there of the 83 team winning the World Series title. And then Roger Clemens obviously celebrating a first-round draft pick status and making it to the big leagues pretty quickly with the Red Sox.
Shepard singled his first time up. One of 3 Horned Frog hits.
A much slimmer Roger Clemens.
And yet a defensive end collegiate prospect.
I believe it.
Out of Springwoods High School.
I believe it. He's always been an athlete. That's the thing when I would watch him and participate in the workouts with him. I mean, that guy was just a workhorse.
Shepard grounding out to Cody Clemens. Yeah, so he'd start early January. So he'd give himself like 2 months to recover. And then the rest of the 10-month season, he's at it, either preparing or pitching.
Yeah, he pounded it. And, going out to his house just to lift the weights with him. I mean, that was a 2.5 hour session in the gym. Then we would go run. Then we would come back and lift some more. I mean, the guy just, really worked hard at his craft. Oh, what a play.
Diving stop by Cody Clemens to nip Cody Boulware for out number 2.
Wow. Now that's the major league leather right there. Cody Clemens throwing it. Fully extended. And just gets up, sets his feet, makes a perfect throw to first base. That's outstanding. Sure, Roger's celebrating that one.
No doubt, defensive play of the evening so far. Boulware robbed. He's hit it hard twice, and he's 0 for 3 to show for it. Josh Watson has struck out and grounded to Clemens.
And it's just plays like that that really frustrate a team. TCU working hard to try to get base runners. They, of course, down by 3 here. Every base runner counts, and you hit a missile up the middle. Just kind of takes the wind out of your sails in the dugout.
King has worked through the only trouble he's faced in the 3rd and the 4th to retire the last 6, and now the last 7 in a row to keep it 3-0 Longhorns. Graduation weekend in Austin, and a good start to this 3-game series for the 15th ranked Texas Longhorns, leading TCU 3-0 through 5.5. Texas 14-7, 2 games behind first place Oklahoma State. Longhorns rooting for, obviously, themselves to sweep the Horned Frogs and for Texas Tech to do likewise to the Cowboys. And they can be Big 12 regular season champions and the top seed next week in the tournament in Oklahoma City.
So you're saying they got a chance?
They got a chance. First ball hitting, DJ Petrinsky, handled by Adam Oviedo. TCU has a chance. It's much taller odds. In an injury-plagued season, 2nd straight year without their top position player, Luken Baker, who as a freshman may have also been their top pitcher, and Jared Janczak, top starting pitcher, recently undergoing surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome. And a shoulder scope still to come. Also first ball hitting is Duke Ellis, also handled by Oviedo.
Well, and to make matters worse, they're without closer Durbin Feltman this weekend. He's got some soreness, some tenderness. I think he should be back next week, and Jim Schlossnagle sure needs him back for that tournament. TCU's going to have any hopes of qualifying for regional this season.
Feldman coming up sore Saturday against Texas Tech. MRI was clear, minor strain in the back of his shoulder. But being held out of this series in hopes that he'll be available next week.
Yeah, there was a 100% chance that Jake McKenzie was going to take the previous pitch, and he did.
Not this one, but it will hook foul 0-2.
Yeah, that's just the general unwritten rule of baseball. The hitters before you make outs on first pitches. If you're the 3rd hitter in the inning, you are not swinging. Now Ladola 0-2, so chance for a 5-pitch inning here.
But you can count on one hand, maybe not even needing all 5 fingers, the number of 3-pitch innings in your career.
It's been a long time. I've seen a couple. It's been a very long time. I don't think I ever had one in my career. I'd like to ask Roger if he had one. I doubt it.
Last one I remember, I think, was now 9 years ago by Tommy Hunter. He was with the Rangers.
Oh, yeah. Yep. TH, man. He
never before and never since.
Yeah. Yep.
1-2 pitch. Grounded fair down the line into the corner. Chased down by Josh Watson, and McKenzie has a 2-out double.
Now, good for Jake McKenzie, and had a long history with Jake and his family. Coached him one summer, and not only coming on strong here with the bat here later part of the season. He's at first base because he's an outstanding defensive player, but one of the finest young men you'll ever meet. As you mentioned earlier, Barn, a 4.0 student in petroleum engineering here, and you talk about wicked smart. That kid's got it all together. I don't care what he does in life, he's going to be successful at it. He's just one of those guys.
Top of the order, David Hamilton is lined out, struck out, and reached on an infield hit. Lodolo has hit 4 Longhorn hitters.
Yeah, he's making a bid for his 5th.
And that was very close to number 5. On deck hitter Austin Todd, he's plunked twice, also Zubia and Reynolds.
I think you're starting to see a little bit of fatigue set in, and Lodolo had a chance for a quick inning here. Start off 2 pitches, 2 outs. McKenzie hits the double, and now he's struggling to find the command again. A lot of it's come out of the stretch position. I'm not exactly sure mechanically, other than that front side flying open at times. But typically out of the stretch, you're a little bit more compact and simplified, and Lodolo having fits out of the stretch position tonight.
Snaps off beauty there, 2-1.
Yeah, good 2-0 breaking ball. Hamilton definitely not sitting on that pitch.
In this 8-1 month of May, the TCU team ERA 189, opponent average 205, 4 shutouts, only 8 wins. Second best staff ERA in the Big 12 this year at 342, second most strikeouts.
Well, you struggle with command, and you're just not going to get those borderline pitches, and certainly framed up nicely behind the dish there by Zach Humphreys, but just don't get those pitches just off the corner when you're wide of the plate oftentimes.
Gets that one. Run the count full. Hamilton caught ball 4.
Lodolo's done a good job of keeping himself in this game, as we talked about the struggles with command, but here he is pitching bottom of the 6th inning, 91st pitch.
And his 3rd walk. So 2 outs on 2 pitches to begin the 6th. McKenzie's double followed by Hamilton's walk, and the walk now by Jim Schlossnagle.
Yeah, I think he's already made the decision towards his bullpen, and that'll be it for Nick Lodolo. But hey, bottom line, outstanding job by Lodolo to keep himself in this ball game when he just did not have his great stuff tonight.
Gone after 5 2/3. Charles King makes his way in from the pen. Charles King, 6'5", 205, sophomore from Coppell, Texas. Coming on for Nick Lodolo, 2 outs, 2 on. Here in the bottom of the 6th, trying to keep it 3-0.
A pretty solid season for Charles King. You see the numbers, 1 and 2, 3.38 earned run average, and that low 3/4 delivery. We tend to have to call that a kind of a slinging motion. With a strong velocity, he'll sit 89 to 93 with a fastball, and he can cut the fastball, but his slider is really the out pitch. Just a nasty slider from that low 3/4 arm delivery.
Pretty good with inherited runners. He's stranded 15 of 21. Nick Lodolo in 5 2/3.
You are here, huh?
3 runs on 5 hits. Only struck out 2. Not nearly as many as you expect from the 3rd leading strikeout man in the Big 12. He walked 3 and hit 4. Longhorn batters. Jake McKenzie doubled after the 2 quick outs. Lodolo walking Hamilton, leading to King. Austin Todd hit by a pitch in the 1st and again in the 3rd, and scored in the 3rd on the odd sacrifice fly to short left handle by the shortstop, backing out Oviedo. Last time up, grounded into a 6-4-3 to end the 4th.
Well, absolutely imperative here for Charles King to come in and shut this inning down against Texas if the Frogs are going to have any chance. Nolan Kingham, we talked about, just dominant performance tonight. And he has made it awfully difficult for the Horned Frog hitters. Got to keep this lead at 3 if you're a Frog fan.
King starts Todd with 90 miles an hour at the knees. Austin Todd's career game at TCU last May, 5 hits. Just almost half this year with a left thumb injury. We have a start in center field tonight for David Pierce. Roller up the middle, diving stop. Oviedo just in time to Boulware to get Hamilton coming down.
Wow, that's a gem. If Oviedo doesn't make that play, this game could be over. What an outstanding play by the shortstop, just in the nick of time.
Big league leather to keep it 3-0.
Bron.
Nolan Kingham takes a 3-hit shutout out to the mound to begin the 7th inning.
And it's a 3-hit shutout that has just been so impressive, Bar, when you think about maybe 2 balls hit to the outfield by TCU. I think 3 hard hit balls the entire night.
Yeah, both handled by Austin Todd, Zach Humphreys, and Adam Oviedo back in the 5th. Everything else handled on the infield. His only 2 strikeouts were in the 1st. A.J. Balta the 2nd.
You know, not very many good swings either. That's been the issue for the Frogs.
There's a good swing and a deep drive to right and gone. Number 5 for Balta, and the Horned Frogs are on the board.
Yeah, no sooner than you say it, Balta launches one out of here into the Horns bullpen, but Balta had a good swing on a ball back in the 4th inning. Hit the single, got to third base, and certainly exactly what the Frogs needed here to get that 0 off the board. And man, does he extend on that fastball. Just a fastball tailing away, but caught way too much of the plate. And Balta crushes it. Line drive home run. Nice job, Balta.
Shutout over. Michael Landestoy tries to do the same thing. A.J. Balta banged up recently, hurt crashing into the fence against West Virginia on what became an inside the park home run. That would appear to be fully recovered. 5th homer, 46 driven in.
Yeah, head coach Jim Schlossnagle said, you know, we weren't sure with the way he hit that fence if we were even going to have him back for the season, and really just got bruised up, and good to see him back in the lineup.
Just missed. Letting Landestoy looking.
Well, Kingham thought he had the strikeout. He's walking towards first base. Thinking he could get the ball thrown around to him, but did not get the call.
2-2. Michael Landestoy already accepted an offer to go to work for the Pittsburgh Pirates after a minority fellowship program. And his goal to be a general manager. Jim Schlossnagle thinks he'll achieve that by age 35. Wave and a miss. Strikeout number 3.
Yeah, great breaking ball by Kingham. And here's the difference between his breaking ball and Nick Lodola, the starter for TCU that we saw earlier, struggling with it. You see that downward movement. That's getting the fingers on top of that breaking ball and getting the spin rotating in the right direction. Getting that downward tilt. That's the swing and miss type breaking ball that Kingham offers.
Kingham's first strikeout since the 1st inning. Johnny Reiser goes after the first pitch, and a diving grab by Austin Todd.
Man, how many diving plays on defense we're going to see tonight for these Texas Longhorns. And David Pierce talked about it, how incredible these guys are. And he's got a hurt shoulder on that dive. And I think Jim Schlossnagle is going to argue that that ball hit the turf. Out to talk with second base umpire Jim Garman, but now Austin Todd down on the field. Looks like he may have hurt his shoulder on that dive.
Umpires will meet and discuss it. See if anybody saw it differently.
Well, Jim Garman, the second base umpire, it's his call. He's closest to it. He goes out. He's about mid-outfield. Schlossnagle's trying to argue that.
Well, he lost his glove.
Yeah.
He lost the glove.
That's not a catch. That glove came off, and that ball hit the turf. That is not a catch.
Look at it again.
So Schlossnagle has a good argument here. I mean, beautiful play by Austin Todd. My goodness, fully laid out. You can see that shoulder. It's going to roll underneath his body. This is where he hurts himself right here. The glove comes off, and then the ball popped out. Now the umpires have a decision to make on what looked like initially a beautiful play out in center field, and now David Pierce out of the dugout because the umpires have reversed the call.
Johnny Reiser will get a double.
Now David Pierce is going to make the argument, hey, why did you change the call? You were out there. You made the initial out. And Jim Garman's going to have to explain that to him. Great job by Jim Schlossler. He'll go out and question the initial out call by Jim Garman on that diving catch by Austin Todd. And Pierce obviously upset that the call was reversed, but it's absolutely the right call. There's the dive, there's the catch, but watch the glove roll underneath Todd, and when he loses it, that ball popped out, hit the turf. By rule, he has to pull the ball out of the glove to show that it's a catch.
The ball never leaves the glove, but in rolling over it, that also injures his shoulder and turns a great defensive play into a double. David Pierce continues to argue otherwise.
Hey, he's not going to win the argument, but certainly getting his money's worth here. Now talking with home plate umpire Mike Morris. And the replay showed the ball stayed in the glove, but when the glove comes off the player's hand, that's the issue. Now one more time here. See that glove come out. The ball comes out after he pulls it out of the glove, looks like, or the ball may have hit the turf. We couldn't tell once that glove turns over if it hit the turf or not.
Meanwhile, Tate Shaw stretching out in center field. He will replace the now injured Austin Todd.
Yeah, that's the worst part of this play is that Austin Todd has to come out of the game injured. He's contributed with a run in the third inning. Obviously an outstanding defensive center fielder. And now with a hurt shoulder.
Well, Pierce now pleading his case with Mike Morris. Oh, shame for Todd, who's, as we've said, has fought a left thumb injury much of the year. Now dealing with a left shoulder injury.
Well, Austin Todd totally sold himself out there and makes a sliding catch, totally outstretched on the turf. Just unfortunate to see the shoulder injury after that arm rolled underneath him.
So it goes as a double. Reiser at second for Zach Humphreys, who flied out to Todd last time up. Previously grounded to third. So a homer, strikeout, and a double for the Horned Frogs here in the seventh. Humphreys no homers, but tying run at the plate against Nolan Kingham, who had been sailing.
Well, by rule, it doesn't matter if the ball stays in the glove or not. Once that glove comes off the hand of the fielder, that's a safe play.
Runner going, throw to third, not in time. Reiser almost slid off the bag, but in there with a steal.
Well, absolutely great jump by Johnny Reiser at second base. You saw him, his feet were moving before Kingham made the throw home. That's exactly what base stealers at second base try to do. Get that jump, and you can see the speed. He stays on the bag the whole time. His body slides across the top of it. It's really difficult on this turf here. Even the cutouts are turf to try to stop your slide. Reiser did a good job of holding the bag.
Fourth stolen base of the year for Reiser. And a check swing foul by Zach Humphreys is 1-2.
Well, Texas with a 3-1 lead. They're going to have the infield play back. They'll concede the run if Zach Humphreys can make contact, he'll pick up the RBI if he can get the ball down on the infield. First baseman Jake McKenzie actually in now. The corners are in. They'll make the play home if they can get him.
Humphreys, no homers, 25 RBIs, and over half of them driven in with 2 outs this year. 13. 1 out here, but the key at bat of the game for TCU. High heat, strikeout number 4.
Now that's reaching back for something right there, Nolan Kingham. He goes hard up in the zone. Humphreys had not seen a fastball elevated and swings right through it. Kingham blows him down, and big 2 outs there. Now the infield obviously can play back with 2 outs. Knock it down and try to get the last out here.
Connor Wanhanen, greased on an error by Clemens. Grounded out to Clemens in second last time. Showing some signs of coming around here late in his senior year. RBIs in 6 of his last 7 games, including his home finale. Drove it around on senior day. Last Sunday in the 8-5 win over West Virginia. Low 2-0.
Connor Wanhanen, one of the few seniors in this TCU lineup, and talk about stepping up, and what's needed with Luke and Baker down out of the lineup is a play like Wanhanen to step up and really deliver here with a big 2-out hit.
Just manages the outside edge, 2-1. A brilliant start to Wanhanen's career. Big 12 Freshman of the Year, Freshman All-America, All-College World Series selection after hitting .329. Roller up the middle, off the bag, and it's 3-2. Reiser is home.
Yeah, exactly what the Horned Frogs needed, that big 2-out single. And Nolan Kingham coming in this inning, we talked about Barney, he'd really been almost unhittable in terms of Frogs getting balls to the outfield. Now this inning, 3 balls now have touched the outfield turf, and they've cut the lead down to 1.
They started with a first pitch home run by A.J. Bolta. Strikeout double, strikeout RBI single. And Wanhanen the tying run with Adam Oviedo 1 for 2. Reese on an infield hit, lined out to Austin Todd in center to end the 5th.
Well, pitch number 90 coming, and still no action in the Longhorn bullpen, so David Pierce feels good about his starter.
Well, in his last outing, he threw 127 pitches. That was May 4th at Texas Tech. In 6 1/3 innings, 127 pitches in a 12-6 win.
That's a lot of pitches in that short amount of time, and obviously his arm is strong. It's later in the season. You can extend if you're feeling that good, but now the issue for Kingham, he's starting to fall behind hitters, and that's typically a sign of fatigue. And we talked about how hot it is down on the field tonight. Game time, 94 degrees. That turf, I promise you, was more like 110 when this game started.
It's cooled off a little bit, all the way down to 91. 2 balls to the strike. The one thing, I kind of wish Roger Clemens was still up here to ask him, did anyone ever mention the word pitch count to him in his career?
Right, yeah. Roger would tell you when he was ready to come out. That was the issue with Roger. And he could go 130, 140 pitches deep. It's just because of the physicalness he brought to the mound. You know, his strength and conditioning program was second to none. And Kingham's in great shape. I mean, he proved it with 127 pitches. This is just a different night.
I saw recently, this being the 50th anniversary of the year of the pitcher, 1968. In June and July of 1968, Bob Gibson, 12 starts, 12 complete games, 8 shutouts.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. We talk about conditioning, right?
No one was keeping count of pitches.
Well, back in 1988, I threw 162 pitches in a start against Texas Tech. So that's just the way it was back then. You were expected to go deeper into games. And the game has changed quite a bit now. You don't oftentimes see pitchers even go beyond 100 pitches in games anymore.
You guys lifted with no hitters.
Kingham still looks strong. I'm just saying, you get behind hitters, that's typically an issue. Not on that one.
2 runs on 3 hits. Beginning with A.J. Balta's blast, his 5th of the year. A 1-run game at Austin. Single runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th for the Longhorns as Nolan King sailed into the 7th, working on a 3-hit shutout. That came to an end on the Balta homer, the riser double, and the RBI single by Wanhanen. And so Charles King out now to try and keep this a 1-run game. He faces Clemens, Zubia, and Hibbler, 3, 4, and 5 in the Longhorn 7th. Clemens has grounded to 2nd twice and walked in between.
That foul tip knocked the mask right off of Zach Humphreys, and Mike Morris, the home plate umpire, checking on him. Clemens hunting fastballs early in the count against King.
Popped up. 0-2.
Well, Dave, I don't think we've overstated the importance of this game for both teams. We talked about in the open, Texas has a shot to win the regular season Big 12 title. If they can win at least 2 or 3 games here against TCU, and Oklahoma State dropped 3 to Texas Tech, but they are playing at home. The Cowboys are. But Texas shooting for the Big 12 regular season title while TCU just trying to survive. They've got to win at least 2 out of 3. As Jim Schlossnagle said, for them to have any hopes at all to make it to an NCAA regional this year.
Charles King has retired both batters he has faced.
So he went right after Clemens with fastballs, and there's a fastball that just stays up in the zone. Clemens not able to catch up to it, but pretty gutsy pitch. Charles King going with 3 straight fastballs right by Clemens. Rick Sarloos, the pitching coach for TCU, makes all the pitching calls to the dugout.
Zubia hit by a pitch, one of the 4.
Yep.
By the starter Lodolo, and since then a slider right. Bounced in front of the plate. Last time thrown out by Humphreys.
Sarlos signaling the signs in by numbers.
Backhand pick by Kobe Boulware, and he bounces the throw past Connor Wanhanen. Second Horned Frog error of the night.
Yeah, and second time Cody Boulware struggled on a throw. Had plenty of time. Steps and kind of short arms the ball to first base, and this time Connor Wanhanen can't pick it. He saved an error from Boulware earlier in the game when he picked one that was a pretty bad throw as well. So
Mason Hibbler on the 2-0 pitch with 2 outs in the 5th, driving his 4th home run of the year, giving the Longhorns that 3-0 lead.
yeah, got another pitch there, a fastball that was right down the middle from King, and Hibbler swinging right out of his shoes. He does not hold back. He sees a fastball and he is letting it rip.
Bounces away, not too far away.
Good job by the catcher Humphreys. Didn't keep the ball exactly in front of him, but throwing the runner at Zubia at first base, not very good speed. And Humphreys knows he just got to knock the ball down.
Perfectly placed. Off speed. 2-2.
He just kind of locked Hibbler up there. Breaking ball started out inside and broke towards the inside corner. Well spotted there by Charles King.
Oh, Zach Humphreys really thinking that was strikeout number 2. 3-2 instead.
There's been a couple of pitches down there, the bottom of that strike zone, and both pitchers now in successive innings. A little bit upset they're not getting that pitch. I think maybe they think they got it earlier in the game, but King's certainly in on relief, and now walks Hibbler.
Jason Hibbler with his second base on balls. So 2 on with 1 out for Ryan Reynolds.
And this is the inning that you really wanted to see TCU come out if you're a Frog fan, to have a shutdown inning after scoring 2 runs in the top of the 7th to get their team right back in it. And now an error and a walk has created some issues here for Charles King, and you can see Ryan Reynolds swing left-handed right now.
Switch hitter hitting mostly righty until Tuesday against Texas State. David Pierce getting hit from the left side Tuesday and here tonight.
Well, this is something that Ryan Reynolds developed as a high school player, and really was a pretty good left-handed switch hitter. David Pierce, so we might see this tonight. He's turned him loose to do it. Here he is.
Being challenging him.
Nothing for Ryan Reynolds. He just hasn't done it consistently. Talking about switch hitting, especially hitting from the left side here. In about a year and a half, he started taking batting practice a few weeks back and really got the feel for it again, and proved up to David Pierce he could do it. Now it's just a matter of him getting that timing down, and he's had some success with it here recently.
David Pierce, very fond of his second Longhorn teams. This incredible team. So many guys who have persevered. Lots of injury recoveries. And a lot of guys who just didn't want to give up baseball.
Yeah, some great stories, Barn, when you got Tate Shaw and Josh Sawyer, Jake McKenzie.
Andy McGuire.
Andy McGuire coming back after sitting out for 2 seasons. I mean, that's almost unheard of. And all contributing this year.
1-2 pitch, driven into the gap, and in front of the warning track, Johnny Reiser runs it down. And there's out number 2.
Well, Reynolds gave it a ride. Didn't for extra bases, but the ball just kind of hung up in the air. Enough for Reiser to get over and make an easy catch.
Earlier, wind, such as it was, not very strong, but was blowing out to left. Absolutely dead flags right now. So 2 outs, still 2 on for DJ Petrinsky. 89 degrees. It was a record 96. Hottest May 17th in Austin history when it began. Petrinsky lined one in front of Reiser his first time up. Reiser missed on a dive. Originally ruled a double, finally a single and an error. And he came around to score the first Longhorn run after a sacrifice and a ground out. Last 2 times up, he's grounded to short.
Another 6:30 start tomorrow night. Can you imagine trying to play a 3:30 game or a 3:05 game at 96 degrees tomorrow? It is heating up quick here in Texas.
Story of last year for Longhorns, 17 one-run losses. This year, 16 come from behind wins. Almost half their total of 34. David Pierce says this team started to figure out what last year's team couldn't quite get on top of, winning games just like this.
Yeah, that's absolutely one of the issues, winning those close games. Such a huge turnaround for the Longhorns this year. It's also been finding some consistent players in the lineup that have produced. David Pierce had to change his lineup multiple times last year, just trying to find the right combination to produce runs, and Texas doing a much better job this season.
Watson started back, now has to race in to make the catch for the third out, and the Longhorns lead 2 and still lead 3-2.
Acting is
Hanging over Disch-Falk Field as we reach the 8th inning. Nolan Kingham working on a 3-hit shutout through 6.
Yeah, had the breaking ball working early on, then the high heat to Zach Humphreys for the strikeout. Connor Wanhanen came up right behind him, though, had a huge 2-out hit for the Frogs to cut the lead down to 1 run. And Kingham back out. Pitch count starting to elevate. Hot night here in Austin. How much longer can he go? What's left in the tank for Kingham?
Both runs, 3 of the 6 hits, 3 of his 5 strikeouts, all in that long 7th inning. And here are the 8th. Shepard at the top of the order, Boulware and Watson. Kingham still finding his spots at 90 miles an hour.
Now, a good 2-seam fastball. You've seen the combination tonight by Kingham. He'll typically go 4-seam when he's trying to throw hard in. Or when he's trying to elevate the count. 2-seam fastball, typically he works those to get ahead. Tries to stay down in the zone. When he's down with it, he gets a bit more movement. Some decent arm side run to it. And then he turns over that 4-seam when he wants to throw hard in to a right-hander or left-hander.
His 2 best starts of the year, opening day against Louisiana. 8 innings, 3-hit shutout ball, career high 10 strikeouts, and then later against Oklahoma State, 8 innings, 1 run on 7 hits. Chopper to Hamilton, the low throw, handled easily by Jake McKenzie. 1 gone to the 8th.
Well, Hamilton at shortstop just has a gun. Watch how he releases this ball, puts his feet in good position to throw across the diamond in it. Nice pickup by Jake McKenzie. Scoops that ball up nicely. He's a little short hop at first base. And David Pierce has said Jake McKenzie's at first base because he typically saves us about a run a game with his defense.
As we just saw, top of the order in Boulware. Hit it hard twice, but 0 for 3. You've had Jake McKenzie as a youngster. What do you think of his development?
Yeah, I just loved watching this young man grow. And, you know, when I had him in summer baseball a few summers ago, it's like I thought he was probably our 3rd or 4th best player. And you know, I had a number of D1 players that we knew were solid D1 type guys. I just didn't think Jake was one of those. I even told his dad, I said, hey, look, he's a smart guy. Send him to the Ivy League. Let him go play baseball up in the Ivies. And he said, no, he really wants to go to Texas and be an engineer and try out, just walk out on the Texas squad.
Boulware lines out to Tate Shaw. 2 gone in the 8th. They've got engineering in the Ivy League schools. I don't know if they have petroleum engineering.
Might be hard to find. He had exactly the plan he was going to execute. He has done an incredible job. 4.0 here at University of Texas. Scholar Athlete of the Year here with the Longhorns and their entire athletic program. So tremendous student athlete.
Josh Watson has struck out and twice grounded out on the right side of the infield.
And Watson's really picked up the power this year. That's something here this late stage in the game. If you're Nolan Kingham, you just definitely think in the back of your mind, don't want to let this guy beat me with a home run.
On base streak of 13 consecutive games on the line here for Watson. We've been hitting .387 in the month of May.
Yeah, definitely one of the hotter hitters here for the Frogs, and gotta be careful. The Kingman's up 0-2. Wow.
Mike Morris thought about it, decided, yeah, that did catch the outside edge.
That was a nasty breaking ball. One of the best one tonight by Nolan Kingham. He'll get us.
You made a promise.
Bottom of the 8th, and the Longhorns with Ellis, McKenzie, and Hamilton trying to add an insurance run or two. Charles King got the last out of the 6th, worked around an error and a walk in the 7th. After Nick Lodolo, the starter, battled control issues in 5 2/3 innings. Walked 3, hit 4 batters, 3 runs on 5 hits, struck out 2. Ellis, a sacrifice, an infield single and a ground out. Sophomore from Nacogdoches in Big 12 play has the second best average in the conference, 394 coming in. In a 12-game hitting streak, which he's now extended to 13 straight. He's lifted his average about 50 points. Austin Todd still in the dugout after injuring his shoulder. And a diving attempt at a spectacular grab on a drive where he ended up rolling over his shoulder and losing his glove, although the ball stayed in the glove, ruled base hit by Johnny Reiser and a double. Boulware for the first out of the 8th.
A nice strong throw there by Cody Boulware, and struggled a tad here tonight with his throws, and that time makes a nice job of setting his feet. Good strong throw to Juan Hanen for the first out. Well, Mark, you think about what David Pierce has accomplished here at University of Texas, only his second season. Yeah, he has been known as a turnaround type manager. Been to 3 programs, 6 years as a head coach. Now taking 3 different teams to regionals. Texas obviously won last year.
Hunter Shepard playing in, handles the one hopper to retire McKenzie.
One of the reasons that Mike Perrin had such great confidence in bringing David Pierce into this program, because he knew his history of turning programs around, and not that Texas was that far away when he got here, but certainly they had been down for the previous 3 seasons. David Pierce has them sitting back atop the Big 12, now challenging Oklahoma State for that regular season championship.
9 years as an assistant at Rice to Wayne Graham. He said, really, there's nothing special if you watched a Wayne Graham practice, but he teaches the game in a unique way. And it was all about finding whatever individual strengths each player had, putting them in position to succeed as individuals, and then prioritizing how to win, how to put all those different pieces together. And over as many decades as Wayne Graham coached, that was always a different combination. But the consistent thread was somehow figuring it out, teaching players the priorities for winning baseball.
Well, the other thing you like about David Pierce is he's earned his way here. Coached for 12 seasons in high school baseball and in the Houston area. As you talked about, Barr went to Rice as assistant coach, was assistant coach at University of Houston, but he knows Texas. He knows how to recruit. That's, again, another part of his resume. He recruits well, he coaches well, he develops players. He's got a really great staff that's been with him all 6 years. He's been a head coach. Sean Allen, third base coach, works with the hitters and infielders. Philip Miller was with David when he was at Sam Houston State as well as Tulane. It's now a steady job to keep all those coaches together. And Perrin gets the strikeout. That'll end here the threat on Texas in the bottom of the 8th.
Nolan Kingham out in search of the complete game. It would be his second of the year. Junior from Las Vegas. allowing 2 runs, both in the 7th. 6 hits and 6 strikeouts. 4 of those 6 in the last 2 innings. And A.J. Balta, Michael Landestori, and Johnny Reiser, 3, 4, and 5 to deal with. Last ditch time for the Frogs. Balta homered over the wall and right, a line shot. The first pitch from Kingham in the 7th to get the Horned Frogs on the board. He's also singled and struck out.
Well, Kingham wants to pitch Balta careful here, but can't be too careful as a leadoff hitter.
Helps to get that call.
Well, sure does. And it's a call that Kingham was looking for a couple of innings ago and gets it here against Balta. Now he's down in this count, 1-2 now. Kingham's just been outstanding here in Big 12 play. If he wins this game, Barnett, move his record to 5-0 in the Big 12 Conference. They're just really coming on strong here late this season. Exactly what Texas needs from their Friday night starter.
Some numbers not what you'd expect. 4.5 ERA, 3.05 average against, but 6-2. Lifted to shallow center field. Tate Shaw coming in. 1 gone in the ninth.
Great job of pitching by Kingham. You saw the emphasis down in the zone to Balta, and he executes a couple of breaking balls, gets the call on 1 fastball down in the zone, and goes right back down there. That's how you keep the ball in the ballpark. Paint the kneecaps.
Landestori has walked in 3 trips and was picked off second base after that walk in the 4th. Jim Schlossnagel says, where would we be about Michael Landestori's career senior year, 326.
And you think about how shocking it is for TCU fans who have grown accustomed to their team being in the College World Series. Of course, last 4 years, that's a pretty good track record. And when you look at the Big 12 Conference and see TCU lower third, it's just not a place they're familiar with. So you're exactly right, Bob. When you lose Lucan Baker, you lose Jared Janzak, you got Durbin Feltman out this weekend. They've got to have some heroes that kind of step up into this lineup, and Landestori could be one of those guys for him.
Short hop handled by Ryan Reynolds, and the Horned Frogs are down to their last out.
And again, the difference in this game for Texas is exactly what we highlighted early on. It's that tremendous defense. This team just does not beat itself. They force you to punch the ball through the infield or get the ball to the outfield. And when you've got, as a pitching staff, defenders like that just continue to make play after play, well, it really puts you at ease and allows you to be comfortable on that rubber.
Johnny Reiser sends it deep to center. Tate Shaw runs it down in front of the wall, and the Longhorns win it 3-2.
Wow. Defense, 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 and great pitching. It's a signature Texas Longhorn win here at Disch-Falk.
Now 35-18, 15-7, keeping the heat on Oklahoma State. Hopes still alive for a regular season Big 12 championship.
Well, big one obviously for the Longhorns, and David Pierce's team again takes care of business. Another one-run win. Barn, you talked about it. That's been the huge difference in this season. And for the TCU Horned Frogs, they got to regroup quick, get back at it. They've got to come back tomorrow, win tomorrow, and force this rubber match on Sunday or Saturday if they have any chance of getting back to the regionals. Not to do without Jim Schlossnagel tomorrow night, though.
Missing it for son Jackson's high school graduation. Kingham his 7th win of the year, 3-2. We'll be back in Austin. Closing strains of the eyes of Texas at Disch-Falk Field after a 3-2 Texas win. Ending TCU's 3-game winning streak. And the Horned Frog hopes to attract notice in case they don't win the Big 12 tournament next week for an NCAA at-large regional bid. Took a little hit tonight.
Yeah, yep. Well, you know, we talked to David Pierce earlier in the week about Nolan Kingham and the incredible job he did tonight. But Pierce said, you know, he's really battled himself at times to try to find his groove. And I think, Barnes, certainly tonight, we saw one of the better versions of Nolan Kingham, and exactly why I don't think he'll be here after next season. He'll be a draft pick here in the June draft, and just watching the quality of pitches here. He had all 4 of them working. 4-seam fastball, 2-seam fastball, the breaking ball, and a couple of those strikeouts. He mixed an occasional changeup, but it's an outstanding night for Kingham.
4th career complete game. A 6-hitter with those 6 strikeouts, only 1 walk to improve his record to 7-2. The only 2 losses again to LSU and Stanford. So he is in top form heading to Oklahoma City and no doubt beyond.
Yeah, no doubt, and absolutely a Friday night starter here for Texas. And hey, look, when you're out there pitching, you've got players diving all over the field making plays for you. Boy, it sure makes your job a lot easier. The mentality is, I'm going to go out and pound the strike zone and let my fielders work for me. That's exactly what Kingham did. He played the game well, he pitched the game well, allowed his fielders to participate, and he pitched quick. That's how you keep a team in the game defensively and how you get those kinds of plays to set up for you.
First 2 Texas runs scoring on small ball until Mason Hibbler with 2 outs went deep in the 5th.
Yeah, that was an absolute bomb. And we talked about the power that Texas has shown this year. Roger Clemens made the point, hey, they moved the fences in. It plays like a little bit different ballpark. And Texas certainly has taken advantage of that. Cody Clemens with some big power numbers. Hibbler, Zubia in the middle. You know, Texas looks like one of those teams that could potentially make a big run here in the regionals this year.
They win game 1 of this 3-game series. Final regular season series in Big 12 play. 3-2. Coming up, MLB Whip Around with Kevin Burkhardt, Mark Sweeney, and Frank Thomas. After a break from all of us here at Disch-Falk Field. For Pat Combs, Dave Barnett. Thanks for watching us. Good night from Austin, Texas.